October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. For many, home is a place of love, warmth, and comfort. But for millions, home is anything but a sanctuary. The U.S. Department of Justice estimates that 1.3 million women and 835,000 men are victims of physical violence by their partner every year.
That is incredible, those numbers. And in light of the Me Too movement, a growing number of pastors are now more inclined to preach about domestic and sexual violence. And joining us now is Dr. Lisa Compton of Regent University. Welcome to Prayer Link, Dr. Compton.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Well, first of all, as we've mentioned, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. How pervasive is this problem?
Yeah, unfortunately, this problem is very prevalent in the U.S. and globally. So domestic violence is also known as intimate partner violence, and this occurs across socioeconomic levels, ages, marital status, sexual orientation, and as you just mentioned, it affects both. While the majority of victims are women, it also affects men as well.
Wow. Well, Dr. Compton, why do victims often shy away from talking about this problem?
Well, the main reason is that they're usually not believed when they do come forward. So we tend to base credibility on whether someone files a police report immediately. And the reasons why they don't usually are very complex. It can involve threats to future harm, protecting their children, financial deprivation, and really minimizing the severity of their own abuse. And unfortunately, this even includes some religious pressures, focusing on saving the marriage or submission of women to men. And all of this can impact and inhibit victims from coming forward.
And now switching now to the problem of sexual abuse, there's the Me Too movement, of course, and then there's what some in the church call #church too. How big of a problem is sexual abuse in the church?
Well, we know across the board in general that sexual abuse happens in at least 1 out of 4 women and 1 out of 4 men. While it's hard to assess the exact rate within the church due to secrecy, we know in the early 2000s there was the focus of the Catholic Church, and now abuse is being exposed across denominations. So unfortunately, this is a real problem. There are sexual abuse victims within all of the pews, and we haven't paid enough attention to how to keep people safe. We have silenced victims. We have not believed them. We have told them to forgive because we quote all sin. The power dynamics in sexual abuse are very similar to domestic violence. It's the misuse of power and control and a breach of trust and hiding sin. And you can see how this can really cause a faith crisis for so many victims.
Well, Dr. Compton, moving forward, how can the church help these victims?
Well, research has shown the link between childhood trauma and adult health issues such as cancer and diabetes and even suicide. So we know that even one incidence of violence or sexual abuse can cause devastating results. So first, we need to recognize how serious of a problem this is and acknowledge the truth that it does exist even within our church. And then the church needs to focus on being a safe place. And this involves listening compassionately to victim stories. It involves avoiding re-traumatizing victims and providing all abuse survivors and women in general a place in church policy and procedure making so that we can integrate the knowledge that we have about trauma and hopefully prevent future abuse.
Amen. And real quick, Dr. Compton, you will be addressing this problem at our upcoming church conference in Newport News. What do you hope victims take away from this?
Well, we have a saying in the trauma field that trauma is not destiny. So healing from trauma is 100% possible. I've worked with many men and women that have experienced both sexual and physical trauma, and I've been able to see God's miraculous power. So we need to know that while this problem is severe, there is also hope and healing. And I want another takeaway to be that survivors will not suffer alone, that silence and isolation has been part of abuse, but love and connection is the key to healing.
Amen. Dr. Lisa Compton, thank you so much for your time. And that conference Dr. Compton will be speaking at is called My Time to Be Free, Victory Over Abuse. And you can find more information by visiting our Facebook page, First Church of God, Newport.